I hope that you all are doing fine and I hope that you're okay. Today, our lesson will be relative pronouns. First, you have to log in using the aplusstudent.com. So you click on your name, you move on to language art, the grade 5, and the chapter is relative pronouns. Our lesson will be identify relative pronoun, use relative pronouns who and whom, use relative pronouns who, whom, whose, which, and that. Hi to you guys on the chat. All right, so first we have to note that relative pronoun introduces a dependent or relative clause. So it's introducing a dependent clause, okay, that describes the noun or pronoun. The five main relative pronouns are. All right, so these are the five main relative pronouns that we have: who, whom, whose, which, and then that. Okay, so the woman who lives next door grows tomatoes in her garden. Peter, whom you met yesterday, has four younger brothers. Emily, whose hair is quite long, likes wearing braids. I just read Janet's new book, which came out last month. This is the dress that I wore to my uncle's wedding. All right. So all these are sentences with the relative pronouns, the main relative pronouns that we have. So you can note that it introduces a dependent clause. All right. So the dependent clause that describes a noun. All right. So looking at some of this, we have select the relative pronoun. So we will have to identify them. But before we move on, can you make sentences? So each of you can just choose any of the relative pronoun: who, whom, whose, which, and that. You can choose any of them and just make a sentence with them before we move on. So I will expect your sentences. So you can send them. So what are your sentences? This could pass as a sentence actually. I know that that's not a sentence. You guys are actually talking to yourselves, but you can say who, where. So, who are you talking to? It's a sentence, okay? You can say, that is my best friend. Or you can actually say, alright, so we can say, which of the houses are you visiting? Alright, so these are like sentences with the relative pronoun. Sure, that's okay. So we'll move into the test and we can participate. So select the relative pronoun. Burns has excellent memory, which serves him well on test. So what is the relative pronoun here? So which is a relative pronoun? Ronnie, who loves to experiment with new flavors, took cooking classes in Thailand. So what's the relative pronoun here? So who is the relative pronoun here? We took a ferry to Ellis Island, which is a popular tourist spot. So what is the relative pronoun here? Which, all right? Okay. Select the relative pronoun. Does the restaurant still serve the dessert that I like? So, what is the relative pronoun here? That. Okay. I'm not familiar with the route that Bridget suggested. What is the relative pronoun here? Alright, so this is also that. Okay, so are the library books that I checked out due already? What's the relative pronoun here? So, why do we always have a disagreement during the grade 5 lessons? Why? Why is there always a problem, you guys? Can we just stay focused and, you know, not fight or something? All right, so no more fighting. So that's Are you happy with the people whom we elected? What's the relative pronoun here? Whom. Okay. Select a relative pronoun. Miss Benson's a lawyer who specializes in labor law. What is the relative pronoun here? All right, so who, right? All right, so that's it for the first lesson, which is identify the relative pronouns. We will move on to the next, which is use relative pronouns who and whom. So, of course, if you haven't done this lesson, make sure you complete that later on. Okay? So, all right, so we already know that the relative pronoun introduces a dependent or relative clause that describes a noun or pronoun. Now, the relative pronouns who and whom give information about people. So, who, whom focuses more on people, right? To figure out whether to use who or whom, restate the dependent clause with a personal pronoun. If the clause uses a subject pronoun, that is he, she, or they, you use who. And if the clause uses an object pronoun, him, her, or them, use whom. Alright, so take note that who goes with. So after restating the sentence, okay, so who goes with the subject pronoun and the whom goes with object pronoun him, her, them. All right. So we have the woman who lives next door grows tomatoes in her garden. So you can restate it and remove the woman, and you can say she lives next door. So that means who is suitable. But you cannot say lives next door. Now that's incorrect. Now Peter, whom you met yesterday, has four younger brothers. So you can say you met him yesterday, but you cannot say you met he yesterday. Alright, so take notes that the whom goes with the object pronoun while the who goes with subject. Alright, so we'll move on to the test and you can share your answers with me. Complete the sentence with the best relative pronoun. A person dash has a toothache should consult a dentist immediately. Who or whom? So what's the answer here? Who or whom? So who? All right, good job. Next up, we have the Olympics divers. Dash represent the United States will likely earn medals. So whom or who? So what's our answer here? All right, so we have who. The chef dash I took a cooking class from studied in Paris. So what is the relative pronoun here? All right, so whom I took a cooking class from studied in Paris. I am wary of the quoter dash I don't completely trust dash. So what is the right pronoun here? Relative pronoun. So Jen wanted a kayaking instructor. Dash had plenty of experience working with beginners. What's your answer here? So that is who, okay? An award will go to the person Dash collects the most pledges. So what is the right one here? Who or whom? Guys, what's the answer here? Before we move on, who or whom? What's the answer? So this is actually who. Alright, you guys should stay focused. You're not staying focused. Stop getting distracted. Anyways, we'll move on to the next one. You have to complete this lesson. If you haven't done that, we'll move on to use relative pronouns with whom, whose, which, and that. Alright, so let's stay focused. Alright, so we know that the relative pronoun introduces a dependent clause. And if you need to find who and whom, you have to make sure that you take note of the subject pronoun and object pronoun. Now, who goes with subject and whom goes with object. The relative pronoun who and whom give information about people. So, we also have the relative pronoun that give necessary information about things. Necessary information narrows down to what you're talking about and is not set off by a comma. We walk to a park that has a tire swing. The information narrows down which park we walk to. It is necessary. Now, the relative pronoun which adds unnecessary information about things. The extra information does not narrow down what you're talking about. It always set off by a comma. So we walk to the Glendale Park, which has a tire swing. Now the information is extra. It does not narrow down which park we walk to. And then the relative pronoun whose shows possession. Emily, whose hair is quite long, likes wearing braids. Do not confuse whose with who is. Okay, who is a contraction for who is. Take note of that. Or who has. It does not show possession. Emily, who is quite tall, can reach the top shelf. Emily, who is quite tall, can reach the top shelf. So you have to take notes that whose shows possession. So that's this one. This one shows possession. All right. And then which adds unnecessary information. Then that gives necessary information about things. So there's a difference between that, which, whose, who, and whom. So if you have any questions, you can as well ask as we do the test. So this time, you all pay attention and send in your answers. All right, so complete the sentence with the best relative pronoun. The certificate dash I received for perfect attendance had my name spelled incorrectly. So, what is the best relative pronoun here? So, what do we have? That. All right, good. Next, we have dynamite is a dangerous compound. Dash can cause enormous explosion. So that or which? So is this that or which? Which? Now this is that, not which. Okay, you guys are all saying which. But you're not paying attention, and this is that. All right? The garment factory Dash opens next month will primarily manufacture baseball caps. So, which opens next month? The leather sandals dash I purchased last week are still on sale. Which or that? So, option one, but that's option two. The musical Dash Miss Russell director was actually quite successful. Which or that? So that's Campbell held a parade on Sunday for soldiers Dash had served in the Navy. Who or whom? What is the right one for this? So who? Alright, so that's it for our lesson on the relative pronoun. You can complete this if you haven't done it before. Alright. So before we finish, do you have any questions or not? Alright, so if we have no questions, we'll end here for today. I hope that you all have a good night and see you all next time. Bye.